Welcome to Ritossa's event. This is Dr. Adil Al-Zarouni. Let us all come together. We have went through a massive fight. We continue to fight this health crisis. It is time for us to go beyond that and come together to evolve again into this amazing world. Let us all come together also in Expo 2020 here in Dubai. It's an event that is meant to take us from a phase to a new phase. So let us all enjoy it, share our experiences, see how can we communicate better, see how can we add value to each other and move forward. Thank you very much.
Okay, dear viewers, we are continuing our coverage and interviews at the Ritossa family event from the Waldorf Astoria Hotel.
So I am currently the managing partner of Atmosphere Investments. It's a private equity and venture capital group with offices in London and Lausanne, Switzerland. We feel like we're one of the early movers. And since 2002, we've built two divisions. One is focused on sustainable infrastructure, and the other does venture capital.
I run operational businesses in multiple fields, healthcare, education, financial services, technology, FMCG and F&B. That is from a practical point of view. I'm also an academician in the field of economy and more so in the field of family businesses. This is why probably I've been seen a few times with the Ritossa Family Office event, as I tend to like to share both practical and academic views on family businesses sustainability. I've authored a couple of books, and one of which in the same field, and I enjoy sharing those experiences and help educate both governments as well as individuals on the importance of family businesses into the economies they serve and into the resilience of those economies. So I hope that the book, with an easy read, actually distills a lot of the jargon around it and eases on the complexities of the academic language.
So I am Queen Diambi Kabatuswila Chiyoyomuata Mukalenga Mukajiwanka Shalma Wabakwa Luntu Wabaluba Wakasai wa Congo. It's quite a long name, but it's really my name, my title and function. So I'm Queen Diambi of the Order of the Leopard of the Bakwaluntu people, of the people who live in Congo, in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
I'm the CEO of Prowess Ventures, and we were invited under the high patronage of Sir Anthony Ritossa to partner with this event and provide a platform for storytelling to share messages of hope with the world.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. What we're doing is basically pioneering the world's first decentralized and unbiased ratings company. So going back to the learnings from 2008 where we had a financial crisis, we believe that was based upon a failure of ratings because there was potential bias within the ratings and it caused a misallocation of assets. The reason we're here at Ritossa, I mean, the COVID situation has been, in a way, there are positives to come out of it. Obviously, it is a terrible situation for many people, but it enabled us to reach expertise around the world and develop connections and commercial relationships all around the world.
My name is Zakiya Muhammad Al-Qaidi. I am the co-founder and board member in Majestic Group. Majestic Group, it is organization between a private and royal family. We mainly interested to make a future and environment, humanity better. So in our Majestic Group, we are interested to develop and invest in many sectors. For example, we are invested in medical city, education, science, agriculture. In Majestic Group, we start now to implement our medical city. It's named Jewel of Arab. It's about a dream, as I say, because it will be big city, big medical city. It will have a hospital to treat the cancer people. It will have hotels for the families member of the patient. It will have central for research. It will have a malls. It's big community.
I'm the founder of the Serendip Equity Group. That's a US and European based private equity investment firm. We are also historically an asset manager, so we started investing in liquid hedge fund strategies, then pre-IPO technology companies, mainly in the San Francisco area. And then we went on to make investments in renewable energy, real estate, especially hotel and luxury hotel redevelopments. And lately, what excites us and gives us passion is to make impact investments, so investments that have impact on both the planet and the society.
My business partner has been a technologist, worked on over 75 startups. So we not only invest, but we also mentor and advise our startups. We help them grow and scale, and we make sure that as operators that they are set up correctly in order to be in the best position to grow rapidly.
I'm Abdullah Al-Wishah. I basically run an investment company called Clint Ventures. We are a tech-focused company, European tech companies. We have invested into different diversified companies within the tech space, cross-global.
My main activity at the moment with a separate team is Ubuntu Tribe. Ubuntu Tribe is a fintech company committed to democratize access to gold and extract it responsibly and make it available to people's mobile phone from as low as 5 cents as a means to create equal access to opportunities regardless to wealth at birth or place of birth. It's a new kind of community, it's a new way of doing business that take into consideration the principle of give everybody a chance. I've been working in Africa for quite a while after I left Europe. And I realized that one of the key barriers to this access to opportunities was actually the inadequacy between the wealth underground and the wealth underground.
And what we do is we work exclusively with multi-generational family-owned businesses, helping them navigate the emotional challenges they face. Because what I found is there is a desire to want to connect, there's a desire to want to have harmony, to have deepening relationships, and yet most families don't know how to do it.
I'm an early Bitcoiner, and so I've been in the thing for quite a while. The UAE has really opened its doors to all of us, providing a very nice regulatory environment for us to grow our companies. And of course, Sir Anthony has done such a great job of curating a wonderful group of people in order to for us to also work our different companies.
My name is Maria Hall. I'm an owner of a company here in Dubai called Business Protocol Services. I'm also a board member of the Abrahamic, and I am a World Peace Ambassador, as well as affiliated to the Diplomatic World magazine as a Middle Eastern Protocol advisor and intercultural specialist.
Sir Anthony Ritossa and his whole team has been so generous and so kind, and just the organization, the preparations of this whole event has been such a smooth and great experience.
My name is Carol Pepper. I'm the CEO of Pepper International, and I've had my company for 20 years. I set up family offices all over the world.
Here at the Ritossa Summit in Dubai, the 16th Summit, I'm really honored to be invited by the CEO of the Ritossa office, Vanessa Eriksson, on the behalf of the chairman of the Ritossa office, His Excellency Sir Anthony Ritossa. And the program of the summit is unparalleled, and we have witnessed high-level speaking sessions on different topics, and there was a key focus on the sustainability, which I'm really happy that sustainability is getting this attention now finally when everybody is talking about it, and this is what Moral Moda magazine is about.
My first participation, and I'm really happy to be here because there are so many opportunities to us, and within like the next 2 days or last 2 days we have introduced by so many people, nice people, and it is really a very good gathering.
Sir Anthony Ritossa and his team are doing incredible work, crafting really a space and a platform where people can meet, people of diverse backgrounds and experiences and also intention. And he's creating this platform where these people can meet, and a lot of things are coming out of these meetings.
We like to partner with people, we like to meet new people. Although a lot can be done online, I'm still a strong believer that being in person can make the difference between success and failure.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to have this wonderful conversation here with you and to exchange ideas of our common, let's say, sentiments of how our future could be like. And to your specific question, why am I here in the United Arab Emirates today, is to take up the opportunity, invitation to be here to speak to family offices, to investors, of how we can invest in our future, to invest in a sustainable manner, to invest with the maximum social impact.
So this event has been quite consistent in its quality, I would have to say. So the audience are come from different backgrounds, quite established when it comes to their expertise and their ability. They tend to be open to share knowledge and share experiences. So I tend to enjoy doing that, and I'm a regular speaker in this event, and I tend to share my expertise or my latest experiences in the different fields.
We need to change our priorities, but that only can happen when we hold individuals accountable for making decisions. They go to one conference and they say, we're going to cut our carbon footprint. They go to another summit the next day and they say, we're going to invest this much into aerospace and fossil fuel derivatives. But holding them accountable, that starts with us. That starts with institutions, that starts with pioneers that want to bring tangible change. And it starts at conferences.
Yes, we were invited by friends of ours who are professional investors and private bankers. We believe that coming to Dubai will expand our global reach, because as I told you before, we are mainly focused in Europe and the US, now also expanding into Central America, the Caribbean with our projects. But we believe that coming to Dubai will eventually expand our reach, not only in this area, but also to Asia, Australia, and so on.
And as you can see, many, many nationalities here. So from a cultural point of view, this has been a wonderful experience. And I think many countries have been represented. And it's wonderful to see men and women's narrative as well. So there was a great panel earlier whereby women were talking about what impact and paying it forward.
Well, it's such an honor to be here. Sir Anthony Ritossa does a fantastic job curating world leaders, bringing them all together. I have a lot of respect for him. I've learned a lot, even in the short time that I have been dealing with him. I think that for everybody to focus on doing the right thing.
This is the third Ritossa conference I've been to. What I'm trying to accomplish here is just learn more about what's going on in different people's thought processes, about what's going on in the investment business and what different people are doing. I'm in the venture capital business. I've been doing that for many, many decades.
Honestly speaking, when Sir Anthony's edition comes every single year, we're excited and hungry for business. Because to be honest with you, it's the number one event that we find the right opportunities for us as investment companies and the right opportunities for family offices to co-invest. Because the main core is now looking is to co-invest with different diversified families cross-global. So we are looking to unite the nations when it comes to investing.
This is our second time participating in the summit, and I really appreciate being in Dubai, in the UAE. It has really an environment of hope, an environment of promise, and everyone coming together from all over the world, united by a common vision that the future can look better than the past.
I own a merchant bank down in Georgetown, Guyana, South America, so climate change is a very real issue. You know, as the rising sea levels continue to threaten all coastal climates, it's something that we really have to focus on, especially as Guyana, as one of the world's newest oil-producing countries, starts to develop. It's one of the major issues that the president of the country, Dr. Ifran Ali, and all the cabinet and all Guyanese are very concerned about. And so part of the reason I'm here is to look for technologies and embrace technologies that we can bring to Guyana to help support and eliminate some of the...
I think we talked about the third, fourth, fifth industrial revolutions, and this one is about bringing back the human input to it. So I can't remember which is which now, but I think the fourth industrial revolution was about the digitization of everything and AI and so on. And now the next one is about bringing the human element back into it.
We really view sustainability from an angle where we want to improve people's quality of life. So today we drink water that's full of microplastics, we eat food that's covered in pesticides that we know give us cancer, and we breathe air that's full of nitrous oxides, sulfur oxides, all of which we know are unhealthy and leading to us getting sick.
If we don't do anything regarding the plastic that is in the ocean, we will be having more plastic in the ocean than fish. And if you think about it, we as human beings did that.
I just heard this morning, are you aware of that island in the Pacific that is as big as Great Britain, of all the plastic that has united itself?
Yes,
Jeremy Irons walked on that island. It looked like he was walking on water. Till just recently, we couldn't explode it, we couldn't drown it, we couldn't burn it, but I've just met some people from Holland that actually have found a solution on how to destroy the plastic island. So we are progressing.
All over the world there are smart people coming up with great ideas. The problem is that governments are not acting fast enough. A technology which I think has a lot of promise is called thorium reactors, which are not based on uranium, which produces a lot of toxic waste and can result in the production of nuclear weapons. Thorium, on the other hand, doesn't produce as much toxic waste and doesn't produce weapons-grade radioactive material. So we have the knowledge.
Technology will affect every aspect of almost everybody on the planet's lives. And it can be used for good or not good. I believe that technology is a great enabler, but it's still a tool. So even though we have technologies, you actually need the people to come together in order to make that a reality.
A lot of technology is coming into this agricultural sector, artificial intelligence, big data, various sensors, IoT, drones. Mindset is changing a lot. People now thinking about what they produce, how they can minimize their negative impact, of their production.
But one of the first solutions that we need to apply is to change our own behavior. Then technology can absolutely apply. Data will become the 8th natural resources of the planet, and data center will be the factory of a new era. Well, that's nice, but are we going to continue to cool off electronics using air and water when we can do it differently?
So what TODA IP is basically network communication protocol for anything of value that needs to be extremely secure. It's the highest security you can have. So if you notice what's happening in the world today, there's a lot of movements towards decentralized currency and centralized currency. And some people, they think one or the other is going to win the battle. You and I know they're both going to coexist. There's a network that they need to run on, and it's not going to be TCP/IP.
Blockchain provides a way that is immutable and transparent, and in a place where, philanthropy, there's, hard to track the money sometimes, and we both do a lot of philanthropy work, charitable work. It's so important.
We always prefer something called co-investments, because this mitigates our risk. And all investments, or like investment heads, or even family offices, all institutions, they prefer a risk appetite to be lowest. And doing some kind of co-investments helps a lot for us to look at uniting with other companies, other family offices, even other regions, to look into further investment across global. And we've been already investing into different education technology platforms that we see a lot of development going across global. And this will add value to the manpower that we expect for the next generation.
If you focus in health sector, you can change system for this healthcare if you add a new generation of medication. For example, in our Jewel of Arab, we planning after many years treatment without any chemo, without any X-ray. So this is the plan for our Majestic Group when we are involved in such of event, to tell other companies, if you have any innovative medicine or innovative technology, come please and share it with us.
I can present scenarios in the current AI that can truly be detrimental, if not existential, for our humanity by 2030, okay? This is not even 9 years away from now.
But what we can do, we can improve the environment. And doing the impact, doing the smart transportation, smart cities, every time a commercial vehicle, like a big 18-wheeler, gets converted over from internal combustion to electric or hydrogen, it creates a better environment.
The amount of data that's available, you can use AI to actually input all of that data and identify which factors have predictive value. And it continually learns from that. As you say, they've got learning algorithms which continually learn and improve and get the very best out of it. When you talk about fake news, you could say one of our factors, for example, within the Eve.io algorithms is sentiment. And sentiment can often be used to distort information when false information comes out. And that's why it's important to have unbiased ways to verify the information. So when you can use artificial intelligence to gather all the information, and you've got trustless ways to identify and verify that information, that's powerful. So this does create power, it does put power into people's hands. I mean, people actually are responsible when they understand the situation, and by providing information, that is what empowers people. So the problem is, people who don't have information, they make decisions in isolation, which are not right for the majority, and maybe not right for their own personal situation. I mean, that's true. You see, when you're looking from a human perspective, there are a number of limitations. Obviously, you've got the problem of, when you need to rate things, update those ratings on a sort of either daily or even a live basis so they remain pertinent to the situation at the time.
There is no need for a specific entity to certify, because the system does that. Now, of course, there's need for these entities to check the system, to validate it, to somehow like make sure it's built in the right way.
Technology is a tool. The tool is only so good as how you implement it. So if you implement it on the basis of values and respect and sustainability, yes, it can help us a lot. But if we use it to oppress and to dominate other people, then it will have the contrary effect.
We live in a society where people get their information from the media or however that works, and then if the dialogue is only one way, then we have problems, And so we need that open dialogue and transparency in order to really solve these problems, because you can't just have one side saying this is the problem and the other side saying, well, I'm not sure, really, is that the problem? We all need to agree on, or even if we don't agree on that actual topic, we can't just shove the stuff down each other's throat. We have to somehow find a common ground to work together. There's no doubt that there are many things that we can do in order to make the situation better.
When I know that a lot of things are super solid on the business side of things, then I started looking into us as a humanity. What is the biggest threat?
In this very difficult time where we're talking about the destruction of our environment, between the climate change that's happening, because the climate always changes on the planet. So some of it might be indeed because of our activities, but I really believe our activities are more leading to what we call pollution that is really destroying a lot of the different ecosystems, natural ecosystems that we have. We still have a great sense of how it is to live in harmony with nature, whose values are not the values of consumerism and excess growth and excess development.
To climate change, it is probably one of the most important, if not most important, things which is now on the human agenda. It's an issue which is relevant to everybody, no matter what state, no matter what religion, no matter what race or age. And the way to solve this problem is by coordination and cooperation together. This is something that we haven't seen in the COVID crisis, but this is something which is mandatory and imperative if we're to solve the biggest issues. The one last thing I'd like to say with regards to climate change is that what's most important is that we focus on the issues which will give us the biggest bang for our buck with regards to investments.
Well, I think after COVID, climate change is the second most discussed topic from the last months. And I mean, basically, it affects everybody of us. So I think humanity thought a bit too late about it, because actually we have only one planet. Okay, now we try to reaching to Mars, but I think it's crucial because our world and the climate was perfect. So we did best to change that. And I think it's really necessary that we all think together what we can do about it. And I think we now change in a positive way. I see a lot of young companies who are trying to reach net zero, also like all the other normal companies. They interact now for the environment. So yeah, as I said, I think basically it affects everybody, and we should do whatever it takes to approach it. Yeah.
When we say that we are harming the environment, we are actually harming our environment. We have evolved within a certain climatal environment that can sustain us as a species. If we wish to survive for a few 100,000 years moving forward, it is to our benefit that we sustain those climatal variables that we can survive with. It is purely to our interest that we make sure as a species that it works for us. What's the use of us evolving as a species economically, culturally, technologically, if we cannot exist within our environment moving forward? It's no use.
I think climate change is something that affects everyone in every way, and it will affect more. It will be more worse for people who belong to a poor economical background and who don't have access to a lot of stuff. So and they're not actually the ones who are using the resources, and they get affected and are not able to manage across it. So yes, of course, it has a lot of effect, and obviously way worse effect on people who don't have a lot of resources. Yes.
The pandemic has been a big wake-up call. We felt the responsibility to act and to channel our energies, our capital, our network towards finding solution to the problems that you've just mentioned. What the pandemic has shown us is that we are all on the same boat. So if we row hard on the same directions, then we can make it. That's what the pandemic has taught us. We now have several challenges ahead. We need to rescue the planet, we need to protect it, and we also need to protect it for, safeguard it for the future generations.
We have to say, look, we're not going to tell you what to do, but we are going to say you can't make people sick. And I would really like to see people stepping up and doing that, because if, as you said, every company in the world will go, look, if it's not a requirement, somebody else will do it. Some studies show that we've lost 70 to 80% of all flying insects in Europe because of the pesticides we're using. If insects die, we actually might die. They are responsible for pollinating, they're responsible for the bottom level of the food chain, which feeds into every other layer and ultimately results in us being fed.
Within the Londonian society, we really believe in dialogue and debating and getting down to the facts. There's a difference between the truth, which is adulterated by a person's opinion, and there's facts. The facts cannot ever be changed.
So I wanted to give some positive message to the world so that we could stop, pause, reflect, and then move forward. I think there's also been a lot of negative media. So I wanted to put something out there that makes people feel good and that inspires them, and to know that we're also interconnected.
We need to recognize that climate change and the refugee crisis is an issue for today, and it will be an issue for tomorrow.
Now, I think it's really important to see each other as equal. You know, we come and we live on this planet, and we all going to die at some point. So it's true that depending the culture you're living or you grow up, there's like a huge difference between race, color, religion, and that's a pity. I think we should try to find a way to all live together and be fine and have a nice journey. So I think that's something, it's time to kind of open the mind of everyone and try to do projects that kind of bring everybody together. So the project we are doing right now, that's a global project. So we want to implement and go all over the world. So we're going from Caribbean to Africa to Europe, trying to build something that will kind of, bring everybody together and try also to involve different culture in our project. Right now, as future parents or young or people living on this earth, we should definitely try to educate like the new generation with new values. The values is that we are all equal. We want to do our best to be able to, as you said before, give the best education.
It's about all of us, about the children. When we're capable of doing something about it with the knowledge that I'm able to share with folks after that 3 hours, people, they feel like we have to do something about it.
Absolutely. I believe that every little push counts. I mean, in the end, the oceans is made of many drops. So if we all contribute in the end, I believe we're gonna make it.
I think to be united is definitely like the power that each of us have. We are like so lucky to be living in this planet, and we definitely need to be like all together and united to kind of like conserve it. So let's raise our voice and just like try our best to make the best of our future life.
We need to raise awareness, because once this awareness has been raised, then we need to act. How would I love to see the society? I would love to find a society where there's no hunger. And you know, the world today has more than enough resources to feed everybody.
The big question is, you know, how can you achieve sustainability? How can you achieve social impact? And my opinion, it's a very quite simple situation, because it's a question of where money is being invested. But it's not just, how should I say, people who plan their projects so that they will get financed. So if profitability, the bottom line, is the only thing that is important as the banks require it, then the project managers, the initiators, the entrepreneurs are going to follow this rule. But if we as investors, in this case family offices, have a different set of criteria of how projects will get financed, such as having a social impact, being sustainable, yes, and I define that very strictly, then the people organizing the projects, and they will do it. So, and maybe the biggest message that I want to bring to people, that doing things in a sustainable manner and with a proper social impact is even more profitable than doing it the old-fashioned way. We have to change the way we think. I'm a firm believer that one of the ways to achieve sustainability is to move from a consumer-based society to a value-based society. I think it's very important that each individual does his share, because as people in our daily actions, we have an effect on how companies, how manufacturers react. If we stop buying certain products, they will not produce them. We have a responsibility to educate. So just like yourself, your organization, you're spreading this information, you are making it available to people. This is part of an educational process. And I think most people, once they become aware of what it needs to be done, they will do it, because nobody wants to destroy the world we're living in. Yes? They want to have a good world for their children, for the next generations, but they must be aware of that there is an issue, and they must become aware of what they can do. And probably the biggest problem that I have with the whole discussion of climate change, they're trying to tell us all the things we can't do. We shouldn't fly, we shouldn't drive, we should take public transport. It's all based on Verzicht, renouncing something, yes? But that just would slow the process. It's not going to have a positive effect. So we should propagating and telling people what they can do in a positive sense. But I think fundamentally the most thing important for forming our society is creating a society of respect. And with respect, we can also respect each other's opinion. We can respect that we will not agree, okay, without having conflict. The big issue, I think, today is that we're always talking about tolerance. I think tolerance is sort of a rather disrespectful word. Why? Because it makes an assumption that I may know something better than another person, but I will accept that he doesn't know. This is a arrogant way of looking at life. I think we must use it for respect, because each person has the same value as every other person.
So, if we start with the foundation, the very foundation, that each one of us is a unique individual who would like to be seen and accepted, and teach one another how to do that for each other, right? How that experience can be non-threatening.
I think we really need to go back to the fundamentals, to what makes us human, right? I think for many centuries, society has been driven by, profit accumulation without taking into consideration all the collateral impact.
Philosophically, at a very high philosophical level, if I don't have self-acceptance, I cannot have acceptance for others, right? If I am afraid of what is inside of my own self, then those are judgments that each of us are making upon our own selves, and then those are just reflected outward into the world that we live in. So essentially, though we're building bridges between, we also have to build bridges within.
And what I've learned in my own journey of 20 years of looking at my own self is that when I allow people to see who I truly am is when they truly love me. Right? So it's like I'm pushing away what I'm seeking. So the journey inward is critical for connection, for communication, because and why people don't do it is because we are afraid of ourselves.
By chasing only economic gain constantly, we've gone to our self-destruction, right? And it's that moment where we realize, okay, maybe we've taken it a bit too far. Maybe the way we've approached it is not the best way. And you can only change the world outside of you once you've changed yourself, right? And I've learned that the hard way, but it's so true. And as humans, if we want a better planet, we're going to have to change the way we look at it. we're going to have to also change the way we interact with it and the way we interact with one another.
So it's, you know, in my opinion, it's not about shunning any part of ourselves, but it's about which part grows to be in charge, right? So the animal part is running the game right now, is in charge of the game right now, which is why we have the world issues. So essentially, a big piece of this is a self-development process needs to be part of the upbringing of the human being, no matter how old the human being is, right? That journey of getting to know oneself and nurturing the spirit and taming the animal needs to begin at any moment. It's never too early to begin and never too late to end, right? So that is a lifelong journey. So there is the fulfilling of the basic needs, education, a place to live, food, a full belly, and I would expand what education is. Education is not just learning from a book. It is also learning about oneself.
And what I've learned in my own journey, thanks to Dr. Roshni and others, is that when I connect with my feelings, that's when I connect with both sides and I nurture the spiritual side. And I get to say, okay, the animal side, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad, and it's okay. We're going to focus this.
But in the end, we all really want the same thing. You know, we want to have a family. We want a safe place to raise them and for our future generations.
I do think that every single human being on this planet should make an effort to understand the ecology, like you said, of our own space, our own community, the resources that we have, like being aware of when to turn off a light or when to turn off the water and not waste.
So we have to find where are the places where we can do sensible changes first, and so that the system can transform and yield to a more regenerative economy system, where we basically are happy with what we need rather than never happy no matter what we have. I think that we still need to rediscover Africa and to understand what Africa can bring today in the conversation in terms of knowledge, in terms of wisdom, because we have such an immense body of knowledge that we have accumulated over thousands of years that could really serve today more than ever.
And safety is highly associated with the environment we are living in. And if we cannot breathe that air or drink that water or live in that temperature, it hits the basic instinct of our survival, as simple as that.
So I think instead of looking at the negative aspects of everything going on around us, which there's a lot, we could focus on unity and how we're all interconnected and how we're all dependent on one another. And that can be something very beautiful, which is why I wanted to make the book not only a book of hope, but a book of peace and tolerance. Relationships are like grains of sand. You can't hold onto them too tightly or they slip through your fingers. So you have to hold your relationships open and gently and be willing to give.
You know, we have one planet. I know we're exploring other possibilities like Mars, but the one that we were given, we must take care of it.
We need to really look at the planet and to understand the way the planet is living and breathing.
We can't continue destroying the planet. We must take care of her because she feeds us. So that educating them to that stead is very important so that they understand that not only is it for them, but it's for their kids and their kids' kids, right? So it's very important.
Obviously, I would like to have a world exist for my children and grandchildren. So of course, I'm very concerned about climate change, but I'm very hopeful with the new inventions that are coming. The way this climate crisis has forced people to start working together. I think that is the positive to come out of it, and as the Chinese say, out of crisis can come opportunity. Yeah. So hopefully this will force us to work together more as a global community and to really save the planet for our children and grandchildren.
Yeah,
We have only one place where we can leave the planet.
Exactly. Jumping off into space is not going to solve the problem. The problem is to stay here on this planet and work out the solutions.
Yeah.
So I think being more open, being more conscious, being more considerate of others, being more communicative is the only way, literally, and I'm being very, very serious about this statement, it's the only way for us to evolve.
I believe that we are living in a pandemic of fear, and what we need to do is provide a platform where people can understand that there are answers to this, that we need each other, that we can reach out and connect. Even in a time of social distance, we can consciously reach out and say, hey, I want to forge a partnership with you. I want to have an alliance with you. I want to bring value to your life. Here's something that I'm doing that can make the world a better place. Would it be helpful to you? And by presenting these kinds of ideas more, we would be able to lower the limbic system of fear, where everyone is feeling very frenetic, and give people hope that, you know what, the future can look better and we can figure this thing out, and also stay united rather than divided during these times.
But we can make a difference. If we believe we can make that difference, we can motivate people, we can make it happen because there is hope. If we lose that hope, it's game over. And I'm sorry. If it is game over, we have to look at our children and to tell our kids, I don't care what you're doing. It's game over. Well, the world is very noisy, and I think we should be extremely resilient. We should stick to what we say. We should never think that it's too late, because hope is everything. We are all human. At the end of the day, what matters is our own family. So what are we dealing with? Are we going to go for the option which makes sense, which is a true impact with no greenwashing? Or are we going to continue to look at a business plan, business as usual, until it's finished? Well, make your own decision, gentlemen and ladies. Mine is set, and I'm not going to change it.
And it is important that people recognize each individual as a human, not by a nation, not by a nationality, not by male, female, race, creed. We're all humans, we have the same needs. And we believe that children are the future, and it's important to reach out.
And so, I mean, if you really think about the impact on individuals, it's really where you see the greatest concern. And so I think it's very important for individuals to be part of the solution, because it does affect them quite often.
Most of the time, when you sit down with somebody and explain what the issues are and what they have to gain out of making a change, they will. I think it doesn't matter which country you're in, everybody's pretty similar. But the problem is that not everybody has the time to educate themselves about these issues. You know, we've all got daily lives and a lot of priorities and enough to do already. So we're asking people to sacrifice their freedom and their spare time to come and learn about something which is a stressful topic. It's not positive to talk about the fact that we're destroying the planet, yet we need to.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with global education, and that people should understand things that affect the environment for the good and the bad, and people should be using best practices around the world. We're stewards of the planet. So what we can do to better the planet and better people's lives is an obligation of every human on the planet.
We need to have more events, educate people a little bit more in this part of the world. I think Europe are much more informed. I think we need to have more conversations, and I think women can be involved in these conversations. It seems to be a male-orientated enterprise or platform. So I think women, we need to contribute more to the narrative and work collectively in order to educate people starting from school. I think that's where we need to start very early on. So taking those baby steps and educating in the schools, not just when we're adults and when it's too late, or not just in events. I think we need to have part of a program or curriculum. I think we should start an awareness for children. I think that's important.
You know, the world is always changing since different generations.
every of us has contributed to many changes. The thing is that we can consider that we are the only who make the faults. We never know it. No? That's why our mission is always to contribute for a better world, and that's why we have to fight not only against the environmental problems, also about the tolerance, the development of different systems that will contribute to a better world. So that's why we can't attack to any country, to any kind of people, of industries, because we never know what our ancestors did, what we are doing, or what in our future will happen. Just we have to give the best version of us.
Coming together and agreeing what are the top 3, 5 most important issues and working together from the ground up. This is the way we solve things.
Every little thing, every little gesture will count. Change your habits, reduce plastics, try and walk instead of taking your car. This will make you healthier and will make the planet healthier. And then educate yourself.
You know, you don't have to be the biggest organization, but the fact that you're bringing real change and a real impact, that's where it starts. And engaging with societies like this, you are helping in your way by educating yourself, listening to those individuals, and essentially putting that foot forward in bringing real change to challenges that face all of us.
It's about empowering people, and it's about communication and about relationship building. So it is important for people to come together to share ideas.
I think we're all going to be one. No borders, no religion, and no color. That's how it should be.